Hey, Miss Byers, this is your Period 2 student Abjeet Singh, and these are my reflections for Key Concept 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Now, the first one you're seeing on the screen right now is Key Concept 2.1, and it is actually the spice charts for the ancient civilizations that we learned about. So it was basically supposed to be about how states and empires, as they increased in size, and how they conquered more regions, how their religions really began to infuse with their culture and depict how they would go on with everyday activities. So I think I deserve a 5 out of 5 on this because out of all the other historical thinking skills, I think I can pick out comparison extremely well. The spice chart helps me do this greatly because it organizes everything into neat columns. Lets me compare each of the five civilizations with each other, and really offers for a diversified kind of research. So if you could um, now draw your attention to key concept 2.2. Okay, so on to 2.2. Now, here we learned about the early states and how those states grew into empires. And those empires really just grew in numbers, meaning, population size, how they conquered more areas. And we also learned about since that they conquered more areas, they kind of grew competition against each other for resources and had conflict because of that. Now, the video you're seeing right now is actually a fast forwarded version of the nightly news project, we called it. Basically, it was a project where we were to disclose information on the assigned empire. We got the Gupta Empire, great empire, really. And in it, we asked questions like, how was the social infrastructure? How was the labor system? The emperors, who were the emperors of the empire. So we asked questions like those, and that really helped us gain more insight on how the empires worked. And I think that I deserve a 5 out of 5 on this because editing is, well, first of all, just great. And secondly, it's because I think that this connects strongly to the historical thinking skill continuity, because the questions we asked really help the viewer identify what was staying the same and what didn't change over time, what changed over time. So I think that's why we deserve a 5 out of 5 on this. So this is the key concept 2.3, and it really deals with the organization of huge empires and how those empires really traded with each other, and that trading may have led to some alteration of their cultures or, on a grander scale, their religions. And this could happen through merchants communicating with each other, or really just trade taking place throughout the two empires or multiple. So as you can see, I chose the alternative assignment by going to the Baps Hindu temple um, in I believe it was, no, it wasn't Norco. It was in Chino. That's where it was. So in Chino, and I saw some beautiful things there and stuff that really um, connected with one of the historical thinking skills. I'll get to that later. But so as I went there, I saw architecture, beautiful architecture, wood all everywhere. And the thing that really stuck out to me was the engraving on the wood pillars on some of the buildings there. And I saw gods or Hindu gods engraved on there, and that just really blew my mind because the amount of labor and just cost of that is crazy. And there would be maybe 12 gods engraved on each pillar, and there were a lot of pillars. So that was definitely something to take notice of. And from looking at that, I realized that the Gupta Empire really had a huge amount of uh, impact on the days to come for Hinduism. And I also realized that this connected strongly to the historical thinking skill I was talking about earlier, which in this case would be change over time, or rather lack of, so continuity, because a lot has just stayed the same throughout that experience. throughout all those years of Hinduism just being there. So I thought that was really cool, and I think I deserve a 5 for this because I was able to make those connections. I saw that the historical thinking skill was continuity and change over time. All right, so this has been my period 2 reflection for the key concepts 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. I hope you enjoyed.